This is Montego Bradley from Fans of Patrol, and you're listening to the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one too.
Quarter pounder with cheese and France, Mickey. What? Boy, ale with cheese. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, you are listening to Superhero Speak, and I am your host Dave.
And I'm apparently a masochist named John.
And I'm a guy who just had to put his 3-year-old to bed during the first intro. JD.
So, same difference. Another masochist, right?
No, that's not masochism.
No,
your life is a perfect example of it.
This is true. I cannot argue with that.
So since you're so down on yourself, John, how was your week?
Well, we just had a 3-day weekend, which is nice. I spent it sitting down trying to make myself right. I am gaining new and deeper insights and admiration of JD's ability to do this, and anybody's ability to write a book.
Thanks, man.
So, after the first 2 or 3 concussions, how did you progress from there?
Oh, I'm a wrestler. I've had 6 before I even started writing.
Maybe that was my mistake. I didn't start with a concussion.
Yeah. Once you've already had a concussion, I mean, it's all the same once you've already had a concussion.
Brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department there.
And I'm JD. Wait, what? Where are we?
I don't know.
Who am I?
I'm talking about concussions and writing.
Yeah. So the two do go hand in hand, though. There's no argument there.
Yeah.
So are you struggling? I mean, you frustrated with stuff? What's going on?
No, it's just, I've been doing this on and off for the last, 2 years, but I didn't get very far. But, I did it when I felt like it. Now it's like I signed a contract. Somebody's waiting for the manuscript. It's go time.
I feel you. I put up, I release next Tuesday. Harvest Moon hits the stands. So, I spent all day today doing my Amazon Ads for Authors course. Thank you, Mark Dawson. And learning really the ins and outs of how to market and getting ready to hit the ground running. So I'm right there with you, man.
So it would be bad if I said, man, comic book writers have it easy.
They do not, actually.
I know. I know. I kid. It's probably at least just as hard. I mean, except that they have to come up with new ideas every freaking year about characters that have already had all the ideas sucked out of them 50 years ago. So,
not only that, but you also have to entertain someone enough to give them the opportunity to write something, or to sell, or to create something. With what I'm doing, I am my business. I don't have to sell myself on writing a book. I got to sell people on whether they should buy the book. But there's in comics, there's so many gatekeepers. If you want to, try to make money, or if you're going to be Tyler James and just do your own thing, it's a ton of work on the marketing end of it too. So, I mean, you got to be a hustler in every way, shape, or form.
Or you can be what's his face's son.
Right, or you can have a famous father.
Damn it, Dad.
We're still going. Yeah, Dad, why weren't you famous?
Never going to let him go. Never going to let that go.
No, he obviously did that to spite you.
I think so. Knowing the old man, I wouldn't be surprised.
So, Dave, I mean, it's been hard. It's just so sitting down every day and trying to write, and you begin to realize it gives you a new appreciation of, like I said, you and any writer basically trying to sit down and like wrestling with dialogue to make it not sound wooden. It's just, ugh.
Yes. Also, when normal conversations with you feel wooden, I guess it's hard to write a non. Oh
no, this is true. Yes, very true. Thanks for propping me up there, friend.
Oh, wait, what? Huh? No.
If you need to be propped up, this is not the business for you.
Well, yeah.
This is true. So, Dave, how was your week?
Oh, my God.
How's the new job?
Did you explode your new job again?
No, I didn't explode my new job yet. Soon. It's okay. I mean, been in a few meetings. I've been helping with interviews, which is always weird, especially because I just started.
How would you like to work for this job that I have no idea what I'm doing yet?
Exactly. There you go.
What do you do? I don't know. I've been here for 2 weeks. Maybe you could tell me.
It's very Costanza of you.
But I don't think I mentioned this last week. My daughter and son-in-law are buying his grandmother's house because she's moving into assisted living. And so they're going through all of that. And basically, there were some minor issues. I mean, for one, the rug was disgusting. So they decided to rip it up, which it's so funny because they have parquet hardwood floors underneath. I'm like, why did they cover this with this disgusting shag carpet?
I have, if you watch like HGTV or any of those, any shows that are like on that channel, you see so many instances of people like, yeah, they put this shag carpet down in the 70s, but when they rip it up, it's got like walnut floors underneath that, just need a buff.
Right. Well, this is also the parquet where like they lay it out in a fancy pattern, so it kind of looks like tiles in a way. And it's just like, why would you when this house was built, somebody paid a lot of money to have that floor done like that, and you just covered it up with carpeting. Like, okay.
We will never get over the fashion and decorating crimes of the 70s.
No,
this is true.
We won't. And I've tried to destroy all of the pictures of me back then.
So long story short, I know, too late. Because they're doing all of that, we've been watching our granddaughters a lot. And they can be a handful at 15 months old, especially when there's two of them, and they can tag team you. So yeah, I mean, that's why I got you guys the notes for the show last minute.
Yeah, no worries.
Hey man, I got a 3-year-old. I couldn't imagine having 2.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 cats, so there. That's the same, right?
But John, I don't know if you got it. I got something really nice in the mail today.
A paycheck?
No, my press pass for New York Comic Con came today.
Oh, I was gonna guess anthrax.
No, that's what I sent to. Oh wait, I said too much.
That would be some of the nicer things that Dave has gotten in the mail. I haven't seen mine yet. But that means that mine is probably on the way. No, I got the email saying that I was accepted. We talked about this a couple of months ago, and we've got the hotel all set up. That's been paid for months as well. So all we have to do is put together the money for the $65 a night to park the freaking car.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Trust me.
And who knows who knows how much it is now?
Fuck that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
welcome to Manhattan.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, no, I thought that AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C. would have been the more expensive one. No. Just New York, hands down.
However, the hotel is really close to the convention center, so we can just park it and forget it. You don't have to worry about getting it out and in to do stuff and all that nonsense as well.
Well, that's because we can't, because they put your car in that the car elevator, and they don't we're not even supposed to be able to go up and see the car during the time we're there. So we have to pull everything out right there and then.
I know. You cry when they put your car up there too. My baby.
I don't cry. I take lots of pictures and I send them to my insurance company just in case.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
I'm a millennial. I just take lots of pictures.
Yeah.
And I did do one other thing this week that was kind of fun, but I'm going to get to that a little later in the show.
You heard that Paul Rudd's going to New York Comic Con, right?
Who?
Paul Rudd.
Oh, no, I did not hear that.
Yeah, it was in my email somewhere.
I'm not prepared for New York Comic Con yet with deciding who we're going to try to talk to, so.
Yeah, we should talk about that soon.
Yes.
Probably.
But of course, that always can change the last minute as well, so.
Just like Paul Rudd showing up, apparently.
Exactly. So how about you, JD? Anything fun and exciting?
I'm launching a book next week.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's
it. Mm-hmm. And you took your marketing class?
Taking it. Spent the whole day working on Amazon, finishing up Facebook tomorrow, learning, educating myself, getting kind of scary, but I'm excited.
Can you apply any of that marketing stuff to the podcast?
Yes, but I don't know how we generate money. But we could do Facebook ad. I think I'm good at the Facebook ad thing.
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know. I just hadn't figured out, like, real talk, I don't know how, because I was thinking about this too. Like, how do we apply that to, like, because you're not going to turn a profit until you get more downloads. So I'm just having wrapped my head around how to make it work.
How do you turn it into a download?
How do I turn what?
How to turn a click into a download?
Well, that's easy. Like, that's not easy, but I mean, like, you'd be surprised at what's considered successful as clicks to downloads. Like, points of a percent are considered successful. And guys make a ton of money with, like, fractions of a percent of a click, you know? Like, but for us, like, if I'm selling a book, there's direct correspondence. If I'm trying to generate an email list, there's direct correspondence. Right. For our show, I haven't figured that out yet. If anyone listening is smarter than me, which I'm sure there's plenty, please parlay that information on. We'd appreciate it.
Yes. Smarter than the three of us combined, because we're pretty dumb.
See?
I would normally refute that, except that I decided to sign a contract to write a book, so.
When you weren't really ready.
I don't know. Is anybody ever really ready?
No, you're never really ready. Let an editor tell you what you need to work on. Like, the worst he's going to tell you is it doesn't work, and then you go back and figure out how to make it work.
What if the first thing your editor tells you is to work on your personality?
You ain't paying her for that. Fire her ass. You don't need social commentary.
Well, speaking of social commentary.
See that set up? Bump sets.
The mechanic said I blew a seal. I said fix the damn thing and leave my private life out of it.
I think it's time for a little
humor.
Exactly. It's time for a little social media madness. So, of course, we had talked about a lot of Marvel stuff last week, including they had announced some new series for Disney Plus, one of them being Moon Knight, and the fanatical Lima Bean, I love some of these names, said,
they're doing it on purpose now.
I'd love to be excited, but I can't see Disney not screwing this up entirely. Moon Knight would be better suited for Amazon, Starz, or HBO, in my opinion. I can't imagine that they'd put adult content on a Disney streaming service.
Didn't we talk about that? Like, Moon Knight would be better for Hulu, wouldn't it?
Yes, we did talk about that. This is another case of a person who doesn't listen to the podcast. I don't think they're necessarily wrong, but at the same time, like, I don't know if, like, well, I can't see Disney not screwing this up when, you know, I've got an entire Marvel universe that's, you know, ranges from awesome to, you know, pretty good to back me up.
Yeah. I don't agree and I don't disagree at the same time. Like, I kind of feel like with the death of the Netflix shows, the darker side of the Marvel stuff might be going away.
But I mean, at the same time, they're doing Satana and Hellstorm and something else that's dark. I forget off the top of my head on Hulu.
Yeah.
Which is owned by Disney, so it's like Touchstone and Miramax back in the day.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Something else that, of course, we talked a lot about was the Star Wars stuff, and, of course, The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian, as you put in the email.
I was going to say, Mad DeLorean? I don't know why Doc Brown's car would be angry.
Really? You're going to ding me on typos while we're doing the show? Really?
Well, what else are we going to talk about? All we've got is DC today, so geez.
There's no better scorn than an angry DC fan.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So House of D said, I am so glad they decided not to make this a Boba Fett movie. I hated his cult following as a kid and thought it was undeserved. I'm glad Disney has kept him in dead. I think he means as dead.
Well,
but,
with all due respect, hating him.
Hold on. Let me finish. But I want to put it past them to just keep him in the dark till they decide to cash in on the Boba Fett fanboys.
Oh,
and
yes.
Shane Beauregard, my other favorite new name on Twitter. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but that looks awesome. I'm in. And because
I've never heard anyone say that about Star Wars. Usually everyone's like either loves Star Wars or hates Star Wars. So that's the most surprising thing I've ever read on social media madness.
I don't know. A lot of people thought that the trailer for the new trilogy, the very first one, was really cool.
Well, the trailer
looked awesome.
But if you don't like Star Wars, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy says, I don't like Star Wars, but I like this. Like, I think I've heard that before.
Yeah, this is more of a Star Wars flavored spin-off.
I don't know if you remember this guy, John, but we worked with a guy when we worked together. Who he was was he an intern for the help desk? Younger guy, and he was not a Star Wars fan either. But he was at the right age where like he wasn't alive or a kid really when the nostalgia for the first movies were out, right? Like he missed all of that, and then when the prequels came out, he was I forget how old he said he was, but like his friends him and his friends weren't interested in going to see those movies. And he thought they looked stupid, so he never wanted to see them.
He was correct about that.
So he was never a Star Wars fan either. So that didn't shock me. The Boba Fett comment is interesting though.
Yeah, let's go back to House of D's Nuts.
So let me say this story, okay? So of course everyone here knows I'm friends with Craig Horn, the artist, and he's done a piece. It's Boba Fett had climbed out of the Sarlacc pit. He's standing there with like his arms injured, but he's holding his pistol, and you see the Sarlacc monster dead, half sticking out of the pit, right? And some guy one day came up and he's looking at the picture and his friend was buying some of the artwork, and he was buying a couple of Star Wars pictures. And Craig's like, "Oh, how about, did you see the Boba Fett?" And his friend goes, "Boba Fett's overrated." And then he made the most controversial comment I've ever heard in my life. Jar Jar Binks is a far more interesting character than Boba Fett because he did way more in the movies than Boba Fett ever did.
I would agree with that.
Oh, come on!
No, I would agree with that. And just factually speaking, Boba Fett had 5 minutes of screen time total between all the movies and the holiday special.
He's badass in the holiday special.
Yeah. Oh no, he is definitely. But
the only redeeming part of it.
Right. But the thing is, like,
Tim Conway.
There's nothing else, right? Factually speaking, Jar Jar Binks did a lot more, and he's more interesting. Interesting doesn't mean good, just interesting.
No, Boba Fett is interesting because he has a cool look, and you don't know a lot about him. Boba Fett is a character that people like because there's potential to be something.
Right, but I gotta say,
he doesn't do anything. I'll agree with that.
But I've seen this kind of thing before. One of the fandoms that I'm involved with, the Bronies, they, most of the characters that have become or had larger parts in the series over the last 9 seasons have only become that big because of the fandom assigning all of these backstories and all this stuff to characters that showed up for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so that's basically what happened with Boba Fett.
It's not uncommon, but I mean, Jar Jar Binks is like it's like a minstrel show thing. Like Jar Jar Binks is a horrible character with no redeeming value. Like, there's nothing good to say about Jar Jar Binks.
Well, no, I didn't say he was good. I said he was interesting. It's interesting that he's so bad, but he is more interesting because there's so much more to deal with, more to comment on.
I disagree.
So people don't consider this because Boba Fett didn't have a lot of lines, and he kind of stood there. But when you really think about it, out of all the bounty hunters that Vader hires, he's the one that outsmarts Han and tracks him to Cloud City, which allows Darth Vader to find him and use that to trap Luke.
Yes.
So he's actually very key to Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, he's the linchpin.
He's a Deus Ex Machina.
No, he's not. If you build it, that's not what the Deus Ex Machina is.
I mean, not Deus Ex Machina. What do you call it? There's a term for that. He's just he was a means to get the plot continuing in the right direction.
Yes, it's called a character. He's a character.
Oh, man.
No, yeah, he's not just a plot device. He is like a character. He's the character that Han thinks he's outsmarting the Empire, but it shows he's just as smart as Han. He figures out, he's going to use the garbage to disguise himself, to float off, and then fly away. You know, it's like he does all of that. So
right. He doesn't do much in Jedi. In Jedi, he gets jobbed out. I'll give you that. But in Empire, he does some stuff, and they establish a backstory between them in the holiday special, which when Empire came out was supposed to have some tangential things to it before B. Arthur came along, and then.
Hey, she was the best part of that. I'm sorry.
I think Tim Conway was the best. Tim Conway and Boba Fett were the best part of it, not Jefferson Starship or B. Arthur. They're bad.
Man.
They're bad. But I mean, Boba Fett does cool things. He's a side character. He doesn't talk a lot, but I mean, and that's kind of what makes him cool. Is he's just kind of there, and he does things. He impacts the plot.
And finally, and I totally agree. And finally, Take a Knee from Marvel vs. DC said more excited for it after seeing the trailer, but still have no idea what it's going to be about.
He's right about that.
Well, that'd be nice, just to keep it that way, instead of giving away the whole plot, in the trailers.
To be fair, the Star Wars things, they don't do that at all. They don't tell you crap in those trailers. They
don't tell you crap in the movies either these days, so it's about even.
You are so surly.
I am salty today. I am just iodine and sodium. That's all I am.
Shout out to Take a Knee.
Yes. All right. So then I'm going to go right to this one. All right. So we had talked about, of course.
Where are we? Where are we going?
It's the second link for the Rise of Skywalker trailer.
Okay, cool. Just keep it.
So House of D. Oh, by the way, which I realized House of D is another podcast. It's a video cast on YouTube, and I watched some of their episodes, and it's actually a pretty good show, and I think people should check them out. But he said, because we had asked the question, what is it? Is Rey a clone there? Is it a vision? What? And he goes, it's a clone with the Emperor's Force spirit possessing her, and tell John that prequels and new movies are good if you want to enjoy them. Bad if you want to be a pessimist.
This dude listens to the show. He's nuts. You're awesome, bro. Thank you.
I feel like I'm being picked on. That's new. Not. Yeah, personally, I think this proves that deepfakes are going to be a very big problem in the future.
Well, yes, that's a conversation.
And then
whatever. I mean,
hey, I'm gonna take it on me. I want House of D on this show at some point. Please reach out to us. I wish to learn more about you and subscribe to your newsletter.
Yes, I totally agree. I don't get this one. Raymond Urquiza just said she's an orphan. Her parents leave her on Jakku, and we don't know much about Rey. Okay, but
I just like how he spelled it, orphan.
Yeah, it's like
ORFAN.
We were talking about that specific. Obviously, someone who doesn't listen to the show, we were talking about that specific clip from the trailer. Like, what's going on there?
They listen to the show. They wouldn't be commenting if they weren't listening.
No, this dude clearly does not listen to the show. That's why I can make fun of the spelling of Orf fan, and he won't know.
Yes. Uncomfortable Sean said, it's a freaking clone. And then quickly tweeted after that, or the original.
It could be a freaking clone.
Yeah. Ralphie Repulsive, doesn't matter. Nobody cares about Star Wars anymore. Sounds like he's a friend of yours, John. And I said, well, The Last Jedi made $1.3 billion, so someone has to care somewhere.
Yeah, whatevs.
To which he replied, true, but Solo tanked because all those people just spent $1.3 billion on The Last Jedi, felt burned, and didn't show up. I don't know if
it had a good opening weekend.
Yeah, and I also don't know if that's entirely true, because like Solo was an okay movie, but I don't know how many people wanted a standalone Han Solo movie that didn't star Harrison Ford.
Well, there's one. I mean, it's basically that movie wasn't just, hey, we have a story to tell. It was literally just a cash grab. I mean, they had to explain why his last name was Solo and where he got the dice. Come on, you know.
And they made it twice. That was the big problem with that movie. Is it could have been a low budget Star Wars movie that did fine, kind of like Rogue One, but they had to make it twice.
That's right.
Which burst up the budget. So like it had to be an absolute blockbuster just to turn a profit. Like no, that wasn't. It wasn't great to begin with. So we had a lot going against it. But this, I think we found someone who's saltier than John.
No.
Which he also then said, but I'm just being a hater. Yes. Because I was one of the people who absolutely loved Star Wars until the Disney era and feel it's been ruined. If you enjoy it, that's cool. I don't want to rain on your parade. Enjoy what you enjoy.
These are the same exact people that 10 years ago wanted to string Lucas up because they hated the prequels. And now, this is the best, because if you're old enough to have lived through all of this, you can sit there and just say, look, it's just pissy fanboys that aren't happy. Now we've got people that man, the prequels, they had it right. And then Disney came along and screwed it up.
Oh, geez. I don't think anybody's saying that.
Oh, no, that's exactly what this dude is saying.
Yeah, but it's not true.
Oh, I know. None of it is true.
I mean, basically what we got was Lucas unchained for the first three prequels, which equaled Jar Jar Binks, which was, not great. But at least they kind of had a coherent storyline. These last three movies have been all over the place, and that's what you get when you get executives involved.
No, I'll disagree with you on this one. I think that the last two movies are far better than the prequels. And I like Sith.
I think the problem is, in all honesty, and I've said this before, I think JJ honestly was setting stuff up, and then Johnson was just like, screw all that, I want to do my own thing. And there was no plan that, it's like, oh, well, no, this is the blueprint you should be following. It was just like, go ahead, do what you want,
It does kind of seem that way. George Lucas was the driving force of the original trilogy, but he didn't direct the second two movies. Right. But they were his stories.
Right.
I don't know if this one has had a showrunner per se.
Right. And that's the whole thing. Even though he didn't direct them, he was still involved with writing and producing them, So. And then finally, Spades Are Spades said, what a lot of people are thinking, Rey is a Mary Sue.
That's not what a Mary Sue is.
Yeah, Mary Sue is a character who comes in and can do anything right away without having to work for it.
Like automatically seeing somebody use their mind powers to control somebody and then immediately being able to do that with no training whatsoever?
No, okay, let's say this. A Mary Sue is a woman writing a character into a story because they're so underrepresented in stories to begin with. So by the chance anyone tries to introduce a female character, everyone's got to go, oh my God, she's a woman and she can't do those things. And they get mad. That's what a Mary Sue is.
Whoa, no.
Wait a minute.
The term originally came...
That's exactly what a Mary Sue is. I know the definition of it. A girl wrote some Star Wars fan fiction, made a character based on herself, and people get mad about it. Oh my God, it's a Mary Sue. It's a woman. That's what it is. That's the definition of that's the origin of the term. And because it's a female character, we get all wonky. Luke Skywalker.
That's the origin. The origin
a type of female character who is depicted as unrealistically lacking in flaws or weaknesses.
Female character.
Well, yeah, but but you call a female character a Mary Sue, a male character would be a Marty Stew. And the whole point of it is that they are just characters that waltz through problems, automatically powering up or gaining power whenever they need to overcome something. There's no real struggle.
In fan fiction, not in actual stories.
Right.
This is an actual story. So by the fact that it's a real story, she can't be a Mary Sue.
Then what is she?
A character in a story that you don't like.
She's a Deus Ex Machina. There you go.
She's not a Deus Ex Machina. That's
no,
not
but I mean, but the thing is, I do have issues with, like, she could use she could control people with her mind, without any training on it whatsoever, without even, knowing that she's a Jedi or not. It was just
or the lightsaber. The first time she picks up a lightsaber, she starts hacking. I mean, most people, the first time they pick up a lightsaber, the first thing they do is take off their arms.
That's never happened.
But the thing is that they all have had training. All Jedi have had training.
Luke picked up a lightsaber and swung it around perfectly fine the first time. He was playing with it. And he almost took his eye out if you watched the movie close enough.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is that he had somebody there and he started training.
You're right. He had one scene where he's battling a little floaty ball.
Well, that's enough for a movie.
That's what he had. And he blew up a Death Star by hitting a target that was like 2 centimeters. But that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine.
Well, he had the training montage, so that's okay.
No, he didn't have a montage. There was no montage. If you put a montage in there, I will accept that argument. There is no montage. No montage.
Huh.
Hashtag no montage.
That's what Rise of Skywalker needs. It needs a good 80s training montage with Rey.
In the 3 seconds between her getting tied to the chair and starting to control the stormtrooper to tell him to let her go.
To be fair, stormtroopers are dumb. They always have been. We've established that. They suck.
That one wasn't. That was 007.
We don't know that. It's a rumor.
Is it only a rumor?
It's a rumor. And he could just be a guy who sounds a lot like Daniel Craig. And Daniel Craig isn't actually 007. He just plays him on TV.
All right. Now that we got JD all riled up, let's move on.
I thought I was going to be the riled up one.
Well, I'm over the Star Wars bashing. Those are good movies. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And finally, we had, I knew this was a couple episodes ago. We had talked about, of course, Linda Carter said she will not be reprising the roles of Wonder Woman, for the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover on the CW. And Randy Savage from the Colt 45 podcast, said, Allison Mack, gotta get her bail money.
Oh. I should have made that joke. That was good.
That's great.
To which I replied, I thought that's what Colt 45 was working on. And then Randy came back with, this is all me up in here.
Ooh, now it's getting creepy.
And then I said, are you hoping for conjugal visits?
We got creepy.
And then, of course, he replied with a meme, my body is ready.
Full creepy.
Well, but by the way, we will be hanging out with Randy at the New York Comic-Con coming up. And finally, I said, have Tom Welling as the Kingdom Come version of Superman.
That's been discussed, but it's still... Yeah, we keep hearing rumors, but they've only been rumors, period. So until we get something concrete, it's not showing up.
Not that I have an issue with that, but, like, I don't know. Is he old enough to pull off...
Have you seen Tom Welling lately?
No, I haven't.
Very gray.
Really?
Yeah, but he still got the build, though. I mean, he was on Lucifer 2 years ago, and he looked good. I mean, he hasn't lost anything.
He's pretty deep into his 40s by now, so, I mean, like, it could work.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I was just thinking Dean Cain, because he was already on Supergirl as what's-her-face's stepfather, or adoptive father, whatever you want to call it.
Real talk. Dean Cain not as good an actor as Tom Welling.
This is true.
Yeah. And Dean Cain, there's some other problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so I just figured, he's already involved with the show. It seemed like a small leap, but, Who knows?
You think, but I don't know. Tom Holland would be a much better pick.
Did you see that Smallville where they brought in Dean Cain to basically be Vandal Savage, but they didn't call him Vandal Savage?
I don't remember that.
I'm trying to remember. Was yes, I do. Yes. Okay.
No other purpose. I was just disappointed they didn't call him Vandal Savage. It shows how far we've come in our comic book TV shows.
Well, that's true, right? Yeah, they would do stuff like that all the time on Smallville, and they couldn't call them what they wanted them to be.
Bender just didn't. The Batman one they couldn't, but Vandal Savage, I don't think anybody was fighting over that one.
Yeah, but I kind of wonder if Warner Brothers was like, oh, well, we don't know if we want to do something with the character, so don't use them yet.
No, you got a point. That's actually possible.
Yeah. But, of course, not only will we be hanging out with Randy Savage at New York Comic Con, he is one of the co-hosts of Cult 45, which is one of the other podcasts in the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network, guys. And the other thing I did this week that I was going to mention is we did another crossover pod with them. It will be available on our channel this weekend. It is available on some of the other podcast channels, but wait for us to release it. Give us the download. And those other podcasts include Cult 45, So Wizard Podcast, Fans on Patrol, Pop Prism Power Podcast, and the, oh my god, what was, 8-Bit Ray as, the Gorilla Brain Podcast. Woo! I almost had a Gorilla Brain fart there. So make sure you guys check out all of those other podcasts on the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. And yeah, more to come on that soon. And on that note, I think we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, are you a fan of Superhero Speak? Well, did you know that you can earn money just for listening to the podcast? That's right. You can earn Podcoins. And how do you do that? Well, download the Podcoin app. And you can download it for your iPhone or Android device. It's free and super easy to use. It literally is amazing. It turns your podcast listening into charity. Or if you like, just get some Amazon or Starbucks gift cards. You earn Podcoins for every podcast you listen to. And if you download it today and use the code HeroSpeak, you can earn 300 Podcoins on us. So that's our gift to you if you start using Podcoin today. So download Podcoin and use the code HeroSpeak, get 300 Podcoins, and start listening and earning Podcoins today. You won't regret it.
And we're back.
I'm on my meds now. I'm okay.
Oh, okay, good.
Refocused.
You're refocused? You're not mad anymore?
No, I'm okay.
That's okay. I'll say something stupid very soon.
You damn well better.
All right, so now it is time for the news. So last week we concentrated on a lot of Marvel stuff, so I kind of made it DC heavy this week. And starting with some, oops, I just hit my microphone.
I didn't know that the Ghostbusters were in the DC universe. This is awesome.
No, that's the...
Can they be in the CW crossover too?
Oh my god. So starting...
If my 3-year-old gets his chance, yes, he just absolutely loves the Ghostbusters now.
Starting with, apparently, there is some buzz around early viewings of the Joker that Joaquin Phoenix might be an Oscar contender for Best Actor.
I can, given the two trailers, I could see that, but I want to reserve final judgment until I saw the movie. But it looks, this looks really good. I'm tentative, but
so some of the things I've talked to. I know JD, you were excited to see this movie.
I have reservations now. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, now you have reservations.
Because I said there's an Oscar nod in there somewhere?
No. Well, it's like you read some of the early reviews, and they're calling this like the movie that could like inspire like incels to act stupid. Because one of the reviews I read compared it a lot to Fight Club, which was a movie that made fun of the people who are in Fight Club, but the people that like Fight Club are too dumb to realize that.
Huh.
So like that was like they were comparing it to breeding ground for like the incel types, the people, like not realizing that the Joker is not supposed to be the hero of the movie. That people are going to miss that.
I'm making an incredulously horrified face right now. That never occurred to me. I hadn't even heard about that.
Like I said, you know me. You know the kind of things I read. So, I mean, like, it could just be a bit overblown, but I don't know. It does give me some pause to think about it. Until we see the actual movie, you can't actually make decisions. It looks really good, but based on that last trailer, I get the concern. I get where they're coming from.
So right. Okay, so that was the other thing I was going to bring up. And then another trailer came out this week. Obviously, you have reservations about it now, JD, because of that trailer. Did you watch it, John?
Oh, yeah, I watched it. And I can see what JD's saying purely based on our current political climate. Yeah, I can see where he's coming from. There have been movies that have glorified, villains before. Look at any rendition of Bonnie and Clyde. But
it's like different type of villain. Like this one almost has like a Taxi Driver vibe to it. Yeah. But again, Travis Bickle's not supposed to be the hero. Like the trailer it's really good. It's almost like Falling Down meets Fight Club would be the way I would describe it.
I can see that, and that would be actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree. But it's just like, are people going to get, like, that's the thing. It's like, there's going to be a ton of dweebs walking around this Halloween dressed like the Joker. Like,
what you're saying is it not overt enough in displaying the fact that, yeah, he may have his reasons, but he's still wrong?
How many people tell you that Rorschach is the coolest character in Watchmen?
Oh, dear goddess.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to be, like, nauseated by Rorschach. But people are like, yeah, man, he was right. So it's just kind of like, oh, is this where we're heading?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. And I don't know how valid of a concern that is. I don't
know until the movie comes out, but it's just like...
Yeah. But I also then think about The Dark Knight and that idiot who shot up the movie theater.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna have that. I worry. I don't worry about like violence in the theater. I just wonder if it's gonna be like a Taxi Driver type of deal, where we got a bunch of lonely, confused, quite frankly, men that have a really difficult time expressing themselves and don't know how to control or express their emotions is the best way I can describe it. And you get movies like this like a Fight Club, where they see this as a rallying cry rather than a cautionary tale. And again, that's not on the art. That's on the all art is open to any interpretation. I'm in favor of that. But it does make me wonder. I'm not saying I'm not going to see it. Clearly, I am. But it is something that I think should be discussed.
Well, as long as it's not like Birth of a Nation, I'll be happy. But if it's
that's a different story, my friend.
I know. But it's kind of the same. It's the rallying cry thing. But yeah, it depends. Again, we have to see the movie because it's going to walk a fine line. You're right. The way it's portraying him in the trailers is he's completely justified in retaliating for his treatment, right? But they have to portray the fact that he's also insane.
You guys have seen other Scorsese movies before, right?
Yeah.
This is his MO. This isn't, for sure. That's my whole thing. You can't be shocked by it because this is the kind of characters he likes to write. These are the kind of movies he likes to do. Sure. Here's my concern with it. All of that nonsense aside, it's, they're talking about Oscar buzz and they're talking about all this stuff with this movie. And if it is that successful, it's a movie that's taking extreme liberties with a well-established comic book character, right? What kind of message is that?
Alternate universe.
It doesn't matter. What's the message it's going to send to Hollywood? Oh, well, now we can do whatever we want with these characters.
Yeah, but that has been the message. That was the message for the last 30 years before the Marvel Universe. I don't know. We have, there's so much more weight in staying true to the source material now because of Marvel. This will get some buzz. And again, they're just generating buzz because you hear people Oscar contenders all the time that never get nominated. Especially Joaquin Phoenix. He gets, every time he does a movie, they talk of Oscar buzz about him. and sometimes it doesn't happen.
Right.
So I'm not as concerned about this. I know it bugs you a lot because it isn't staying remotely close to the source material. But I mean, like, I don't think DC is going to change the way they describe the Joker. Because Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, which is considered a classic, which did win an Oscar, we've never really had that Joker.
You're right.
The military Joker, basically.
Yeah, you mentioned Scorsese, but the director's Todd Phillips, right? And the
Scorsese's the producer in it, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, but the writers were Todd Phillips and Scott Silver.
Yeah.
I think. So.
But this is clearly Todd Phillips doing his Martin Scorsese impression.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Like, it totally looks and feels like a Scorsese. That's why I brought up Taxi Driver earlier.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's the feel I get. Like, this is a Scorsese.
Yeah, I was thinking of Scarface, but.
And that's the whole. I was actually thinking Taxi Driver meets Falling Down. And you have to, you know, as soon as he got involved with the movie, everyone was like, well, how would you do this? Or, you know, how would you get us out of this problem? Or how would you handle this? And, you know, they just did whatever he said.
But that's the thing, is like, this is the opposite of a Marvel movie. Like, Marvel, and this is why Kevin Feige does what he does. He doesn't hire auteurs. He hires guys that are pretty new to the business so they can kind of paint within the lines, you know, do the movie the way we want it done. When you hire Martin Scorsese, who's going to tell Martin Scorsese how to make a movie?
No one.
Yeah.
You know? It did look like the King of Comedy a little bit in it, too. Like, the whole De Niro thing. Like,
That was Jerry Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's Scorsese.
Oh, there are touches of, like, all of his movies, I think.
Yeah, it is like that. When you think about it, if you break down that trailer, it is almost like Todd Phillips is like, this is my Martin Scorsese movie with a clown.
Did Martin Scorsese have a movie with a clown?
He probably did. I'm just forgetting about it at some point.
And it probably had a machine gun. So
is Casino Scorsese?
Scorsese is Scorsese.
And is that the one where Pesci has his famous? Do I look like a clown to you?
No,
Do I make you look?
It's Goodfellas.
That's Goodfellas. Okay, yeah.
Also Scorsese.
Also, there you go. So he has had a clown.
I'm going to be disappointed if Joe Pesci doesn't show up and we don't have some kind of a. That ain't going to happen, but I can dream.
Yes. And no, I'm not calling Joe Pesci a clown. I want to live, so no.
And he was at Home Alone. We can call Joe Pesci a bit of a clown.
Oh, okay. Well, moving on. Speaking of the Joker, we got to speak about his arch nemesis.
Even if the movie doesn't.
Even if this movie doesn't, they are also making The Batman. Because DC decided all their movies are going to start with "the" now.
I kind of like that title, though. I do. The Batman, it's different.
Well, it's right, because is it just Joker or is it The Joker?
I think it's just...
It's just Joker. It's just Joker.
It was The Dark Knight, though.
Yes.
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
But it was not The Batman Begins.
No, because that doesn't sound...
The Dark Knight Rises now? Is that what we're going to get next?
The Shazam.
The Shazam.
Of course, Robert Pattison is playing Batman. And casting choice that we all love.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Summer of 2021.
And of course, Robert Pattison recently came out and said that he actually did campaign for the role. It wasn't just, he didn't just audition and get it by luck. He kept dropping hints, here and there. And, he finally got a meeting with, who's the director again?
Oh God, Matt Reeves.
Yeah, he finally did get a meeting with Reeves, and they sat down, and they talked about it. And of course, the rest is history. But that actually makes me feel better about him being cast, which means he wanted to play Batman.
Yeah. I like this. I like the idea of a guy wanting something. It's kind of like that, the obscure actor that got the part of playing Iron Fist, they got the part of playing Shang-Chi. Like, he campaigned for it. He wanted it. He put it out there and made it happen. That's a great story. Yeah.
So yes.
Did it ever feel like Ben Affleck was just doing it for a paycheck and didn't want to play Batman? Because that's kind of what it feels like to me now.
Well, that's the interesting thing. A lot of people that know him know that he is a huge comic book fan, and he wanted to play Batman for a long time. And he got the role of Daredevil and thought, and it was like, oh, well, this is kind of like Marvel's Batman, right? Like, that's why he took that role. And of course, we know what happened with that movie.
He got hella swole to play him, though. Like, I think he took it seriously. Ben Affleck is jacked to the point where when he let himself go, he had all that extra body mass, so he looked really fat, like, afterwards. But, like, he seemed like he took it seriously. I mean, like, I don't fault Ben Affleck for the problems of those movies.
No, not at all. That was a lot of writing and direction.
Zack Snyder, let's just put the blame where it belongs.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
How do you make Batman grimmer and darker? I didn't think it was possible.
You give him guns and have him kill people.
Yes, you make him even more postmodern. Like,
wait, you know what? You give him a lot of Dutch angles and you film it in Sin City overlay.
To be fair, the Batman TV series had a ton of Dutch angles too.
True, but that was the '60s, so
that's also true.
That's only because they were so high that they didn't know what level was.
That is also true.
Yes. I mean, it's so funny too because like they've talked about this before. Like in the first year or so of the Batman comics, he did carry a gun, and then they kind of they got rid of it, right? And they slowly morphed the character over years. Where like that's a part of his character. He doesn't like guns. I mean, it's even in the Dark Knight Returns. He's like, he talks about how he doesn't like guns. The weapons of cowards and all this stuff.
Oh, it was a main point in Batman Hush, the animated, that we forgot we wanted to talk about this weekend. But
oh, that's right.
We did forget about that. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. So we may have to do that at some point.
All right, we'll have to do that for the next one.
Tim Burton's Batman, he's mowing people down with guns too.
Yes.
But it's Tim Burton with like the gun shooting nightmares or like ghosts.
No, they're missing a lot. Like, remember that scene in the Batwing? He's like shooting the Joker and misses it's like a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Keeps missing. And that part where the Batmobile has the gun turrets on it. Like, those are very non-Batman things.
Yes. Very. Yeah. That whole trying to shoot the Joker thing was but people liked it because they were finally taking comic book movies seriously.
Right. They look back on it, you're like, this is serious?
Well, speaking of Batman and craziness of Warner Brothers and movies, you guys know who Fabian Wagner is?
The cinematographer for Justice League.
Oh, yes. Yes, he was.
I read the article.
Right. So according to him, so when they changed directors, when Zach left and Joss came in, they kept the same cinematographer, which I guess makes sense, right? You're not replacing the entire crew. You're just replacing a couple people maybe. He basically, long story short, he blasted the Whedon cut of the movie.
Do we believe this? Do we?
So, here's the thing. These directors and cinematographers have really, like, this is very common. Like, a director will normally hire the same cinematographer as often as possible because they're almost like two halves of a whole. Like, people give directors a ton of credit for their movies, but the cinematographers, 9 times out of 10, is the guy picking the shots, picking the angles, picking the look, telling you what the colors are going to look like. Like, the cinematographer does a lot more than people realize. Like, Michael Mann's my favorite filmmaker. Dante Spinati has done the majority of his good movies. I forget the name of Spielberg's cinematographer. Like, it doesn't surprise me that he stood up for his guy, And they probably shared a creative vision, which Joss didn't have.
Right, but the thing is that it's Zack Snyder.
Oh, I agree. I'm saying this is Zack Snyder's guy, though.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So they're friends. They work together, and I said they probably shared the same vision of this.
I didn't know there was that kind of synergy or whatever between.
Synergy's a good term for it. Yeah.
God, my corporate training is complete.
But there has to be on a movie set. If your cinematographer, if your DP and your director don't like each other and don't share the same vision, the movie's not going to work.
Right. No,
so, I mean, this is kind of proof of that, to be honest with you, because Justice League didn't work, and it also didn't look like a Joss Whedon movie.
Yeah, no, it didn't, not at all.
So I think this is kind of backs up because Avengers looks like a Joss Whedon movie. Joss Whedon movies, because he's a TV guy, they look they're shot and cut very much like TV. Whereas Zack Snyder is a visual image guy. So his movies look really good, but they don't have much substance. Yeah, I said it. So when you combine those two, it didn't work. Like, and that, I remember watching the movie and that bothering me. Like the visual language didn't match the tone that the script and the characters were, like the director was clearly going for. So I get this 100%.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I mean, yeah, you can.
Yeah,
say
he said it was a shame. The movie is like this. There were many other things on that movie that made it so good, apart from the fact that I was working with Zach and the whole gang. So there you go. Yeah, that says that they've worked together. Wagner added, I met my wife on that job. There were a lot of other things. It was a great shoot. And so it was a shame to see the film the way it turned out to be.
So this guy, but here's the thing: this guy never saw it either, though.
Right.
So I'm willing to bet the only people I still doubt the existence of this. The Snyder Cut, as it exists, does not have special effects. It does not have all the bells and whistles. Like, people don't understand that movies aren't finished until they're almost like ready to be released. The rough cut of a Snyder film does exist. If a normal person watches a rough cut, they're gonna think this movie's terrible because it's a rough draft. Like. And normally the only people that would see that would be the director, the editor, and some execs. So there's no way not no way, but I find it's highly unlikely that he saw it.
Right. No, that's true. And it's just, but when someone like him comes out and says this, it just builds more of that buzz for like, release the Snyder Cut, you know? And it's like, but it doesn't exist.
No. If they do, they're going to do like Richard Donner, like when they released that Richard Donner Frankenstein Superman 2.
Yeah.
Like, but there's less for them to work with than there was with the Donner cut.
I don't know. I bet there's not less to work with. I bet there's just as much. Because again, much like Solo, the DGA rules are DGA rules. They had to reshoot 60% of that movie.
All right.
So I bet there is enough for a cut. The question is you going to invest the time and money to do the special effects up to snuff to release this thing for DVD only, or for not even DVD, for streaming release only? I don't know if it's a sound business decision.
Right.
You're still not going to get the one Snyder wanted anyway, because you're going to have some of that Whedon footage to hold it together. Like, it just.
Well, and also we've seen Zack Snyder movies. We know what they are. He can defend him all he wants, but seriously.
There's people that like those movies. They're wrong, but there are people that like those movies. So, I mean, you know what it's going to be. There's going to be a lot more mayhem, a lot more death, and a lot more opining and brooding.
Yeah.
Silent brooding. And that's what it's going to be. I mean, like, and I don't think that that Justice League is a better movie if you add all those things in.
No. And that's, oh God, I can't even imagine there being more brooding in that movie.
That's what I'm saying.
And the thing is, too, right, you're talking about the Frankenstein stuff. I mean, all these people they're saying this, like, they're also probably not the people that buy the Marvel movies like I do and watch the deleted scenes. And it's so funny when they have the unfinished deleted scenes and, like, how bad that, you know, the stand-in CG that's there. Or, you know, it's a cardboard cutout of Rocket they're holding on a long stick that Chris Hemsworth is talking to.
Because these movies cost so much money, you want to make sure that all this, like, if you watch a rough cut, you have to watch with imagination. Like, your brain, you have to know how to fill in the gaps.
Right.
Like, and the vast majority of people don't know how to watch a movie like that. And you're asking for them to do you're either going to get a whole movie like that, or you're going to have to re-edit the entire thing. And that's a whole lot of money to spend. Granted, I ain't Warner Brothers. I don't got to make this decision. But it's a whole lot of money to spend on a movie that won't be released to theaters. Because if you release it to theaters, the vast majority of the public's already made their decision up on what they think of Justice League.
Right.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's 2 years at this point.
Yeah,
so,
but we got to let it go.
Yeah. Let it go. Let it go.
No. It's not out yet. We're not talking about it.
We haven't discovered Frozen yet, thank God.
Oh, gods, yeah.
Yes. My
Wait until the sequel comes out.
my granddaughters, for some reason, love the Frog Princess? Right?
Yeah, that's it. Frog Princess.
Yeah. And they keep wanting us to put it on over and over again. So.
That's about
All right, John, you're a Doctor Who fan.
Me
yes,
too.
I am.
And did you watch the Peter Capaldi run on Doctor Who?
Of course I did.
Well, do you think he should join the Suicide Squad?
As Doctor Who? Yes. That would be awesome.
I second that. Doctor Who would make the Suicide Squad a better movie.
Look, anything would make Doctor Who better. Tommy Wiseau could join, and it would make the Suicide Squad a better movie.
It's not that a left field. They had Grant Morrison writer character join the Suicide Squad temporarily in the comic.
Yeah. So it's not confirmed, but they're saying that Peter Capaldi may be joining the Suicide Squad, and of course, there's no confirmation on who he would play. Who do you like? That's my whole thing. Like,
it's a good one.
I couldn't even pick. Like, no offense to Peter Capaldi because he's a good actor, but he's old.
Dude, he's Digger Harkness, man. That is what Digger Harkness should have been. That's Captain Boomerang. Like the real Captain Boomerang. He would be awesome at that.
I was thinking Captain Boomerang, but is it believable?
What, that he could be Captain Boomerang?
An older one, I guess, but
he is kind of older though in the original books. Like, he's balding.
Yeah, that's true.
Digger Harkness always kind of has that older guy look to him, and he's Australian and like, I don't know. Jack Courtney wasn't a problem with that movie, but he also really didn't feel like Captain Boomerang. Like, I think, shit, I'm going to start a Change.org campaign.
Oh no.
Peter Capaldi as Captain Boomerang.
Like, this is interesting. Like, just, again, I would have no hope for this movie other than the fact that James Gunn is doing it. And Idris Elba is starring it. I'm only assuming he's going to play Bronze Tiger.
Right.
So, I'm on board.
Well, okay then.
What do you think, John?
You know what? Now that you've said it, now it's stuck in my head. I think you're right. No, I mean, I can't, but off the top of my head, and it's maybe because, we record these late, I can't think off the top of my head who else he might play at his age.
Yeah, I can't either. That's all I got.
Maybe, wait. He could be Kingdom Come Superman. There you go.
Well, I'm trying to think, like, who's a villain that's on Suicide Squad that's like a robot or a creature or something like that? Because he could do a voice.
He could do a voice.
Like,
I mean, there's so many people. They could make him anybody in Suicide Squad, but I think if you're going to hire him, like, the eyebrows are the attraction with Peter Capaldi.
Yeah. Well, they get their own credit, so.
They really do. Like, they get a trailer, too. Like, I just think that what character could best use Peter Capaldi? I mean, I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but Captain Boomerang is what I can think of. And, like, they keep saying this movie is not going to be a Suicide Squad sequel, but Margot Robbie will be back as. So how are they going to write it off? Is this just going to be like a fever dream? Are they going to say, like, Harley's crazy and envision the whole thing?
No, they got affected by the CW Infinity Crisis or whatever. So
I'm fine with that. Superboy Prime punched the walls of reality.
Yeah. What is it? Superboy Prime, right?
Yeah, Superboy Prime.
Yeah.
Punching at the walls of reality caused continuity issues. Sometimes Jeff Johns' creativity is a bit too much.
Only sometimes, though.
That really happened, by the way, Dave. I know you're not.
I know it did. That's the whole thing. The Superboy Prime thing is just like, really?
Yeah, no. Comics Explained on YouTube. Rob did a whole slew of stuff on like Superboy Prime. It's really good as a primer. If you don't know anything about it.
He was actually one of my favorite villains in that era of DC Comics. Like, Jeff Johns does a good job making him an angry fanboy pastiche. Like, there's a lot of fun Superboy Prime stuff that they did in that era of DC. But that is a bit much. Although Infinite Crisis, I do like Infinite Crisis. I have a soft spot for the story.
All right. We'll have to think about this.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think Peter Capaldi could play?
Besides Doctor Who.
I'm reading this article. They say Nathan Fillion and John Cena also are rumored to have roles in the film.
Nathan Fillion's rumored to be in everything.
That's true.
Basically, yes.
Did he just get cast in something though, for real? Superhero thing? Or is that this I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
John Cena is going to be a badass Rick Flag. I'll take that.
Nathan Fillion. Let's see, real quick.
What? I just opened up IMDb. I don't see anything in there. It's Suicide Squad.
That must have been what I read a couple weeks ago.
A rookie. Yeah, it could have been anything. He was green. He plays a mean Green Lantern in the DC animated.
Yes, he does. I quite enjoy that. That Green Lantern is so much better than the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, granted, like there is a level of snark with both of those actors, but Nathan Fillion's is more fitting.
Yeah, but I just think it's a story. Like I think Ryan Reynolds could have been a perfectly fine Green Lantern if he was given. He's a better Deadpool. Don't get me wrong. But I think that that movie had the same tone. Like Green Lantern should have been Training Day in space.
So yeah, according to Deadline, it's not a rumor. He is in Suicides. He is going to be involved with it on some level, and they're pointing out he was the voice. He was the voice of one of the characters in Guardians, the big guy that in the prison.
The big guy.
Oh, one of the prison guards was Nathan Fillion?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Huh.
So.
As long as we just wasted time with this, who does Nathan Fillion play in a Suicide Squad movie?
Well,
John?
that's the whole thing. Yeah, they're not saying, so he could be anyone or anything. John, don't say Captain Boomerang.
Nathan Fillion's girlfriend was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Who's his girlfriend?
Oh, what's her name? Shoot. She's some kind of Instagram model or something. Or I don't think she's ever been in anything. It'll come to me. Just give me a second.
In the meantime, I'm going to try to figure out who I think Nathan Fillion could play in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Huh. I have no idea. He could be a cool Deadshot.
Captain Boomerang. Oh, wait.
He could be a good Captain Boomerang, too, but I can't keep putting everyone up for Captain Boomerang.
See, because I'm not even sure of everyone who's been in the Suicide Squad.
Michaela Hoover. That's it.
I have no idea who that is.
No, nobody does. But she was in the movie. She was being schmoozed by Stan Lee, and she was also in the background. She was also in the background as like secretary or something. She was holding the pad behind what's her face, who was the head of the Star League or whatever.
Oh,
yeah, great. You know, it's really bad that I would normally have notes to tell me these things, but. It'll come Glenn Close. She was behind Glenn Close for most of the scenes.
Okay.
I think he's going to come and do a cameo. You know.
I mean, like he's so talented though. Like, and he does smarmy really well. Like, he's a really good. He's a very underrated. Like, I think he's such a talented character actor that like he kind of gets overlooked sometimes.
Well, that's because every time you see him, it's Firefly.
That's true.
No, I don't think that. But
he's a better Solo than the Solo that they had in the Solo movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
He's what Solo should have been.
He was my wife's least favorite Buffy villain when he was the evil priest. I kind of liked him as that. I didn't watch a lot of Buffy, but I did catch those episodes.
Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Moving on. In a non-DC or Marvel story. And so this is just, speaking of old people like Peter Capaldi, this is just something to make John and I feel old. I don't know how it's going to make JD feel. Ghostbusters is coming back into theaters to celebrate its 35th anniversary. I only know Ghostbusters on video, so this doesn't make me feel that old.
Okay. John?
What? What? What am I supposed to say?
You're old.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like self-evident, really.
Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not nearly as surly as you.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm old enough to have requested them to play the Ghostbusters theme song on the radio. Okay.
The kids still do that? I don't think so.
No, they don't. I don't even think radio shows do that much anymore. At least not in any major market, that's for sure. But they used to do that all the time.
I don't know. It's funny. Like the station I listen to the most when we're in the car anymore is 95.7. Which, I mean, for those who live in the Philly area, it's, they play basically a mixture of stuff from like the 70s to today. And, like, there are DJs, but you barely ever hear them anymore.
It's because they're all owned by Clear Channel Communications now, and they all play the same, 100 or 200 songs, and that's it.
He's not wrong.
Radio stations are what kids, when we were young, okay, ignore the dinosaurs for a minute, radio stations actually played all different kinds of music, not just the same songs, and not all, music from 20 years ago.
There goes the last DJ. Tom Petty had a good song about that.
Again, that's why I listen to the station I do, because they play music from, the last, what is that, 50 years. Oh, God, I'm old.
That's a wide net to pull from.
I know. That's, it's obviously just the biggest hits from those decades, but yeah.
The funny thing is, used to on Sunday, I know we've gone into old country again, guys, just hold on for a second. So, we used, if you want to hear new music, you just turn on the radio at any point, but specifically you would listen to the top 40 that they would play on the Sunday, counting down to that week's top hits, and you'd hear all this new music, and that's how you learn which ones you wanted to buy. Nowadays, you can't find any new music on there. Most of the new music that I found is from TV shows and movies. You hear it there, and even anime, and from there you buy it.
Yeah, that was I remember, and I don't see it as much now, but I remember that from watching Smallville, where they would play music from a new artist in the show, and then at the end of the show they'd say, there were songs featured by blah, 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 and whoever, you can pick up their stuff here, and it's like, oh wow, that's how artists are getting their music out now?
Yeah, it's the only way they can these days.
No, that's not true. Nowadays, because to be frank, kids don't listen to the radio. They listen to their phones. They're getting their new stuff on Spotify, or they find it on the radio. There's guys like Chance the Rapper who have never had a real album. He just releases his own shit on Spotify or on social media, and kids find it that way.
Kids, back in our day, the radio was free.
Yeah. We have free. Spotify can be free, too. You just have to listen to commercials.
Yeah.
It's just different. The radio just skews older. So, most of the stations are skewed toward older listeners because that's your habits and traditions. I listen to, if I listen to the radio, which is rare, it's the alternative rock station in Chicago where they do a decent job mixing newer stuff but you still get Nirvana and Pearl Jam, a whole heap and helpful of it.
Right.
To go along with your Arctic Monkeys.
Okay, have we lost enough listeners yet? Good. Hey, now we can talk about the cool stuff.
Remember Ghostbusters?
Well, it's funny because that's the thing too. When I saw the headline, I'm like, 35th anniversary. That's a weird one to want to get the movie out there. But is it to keep the buzz going because of the new movie that?
I think so.
Yeah.
The Paul Rudd movie.
Yeah. The Paul Rudd movie to get the taste of the last Ghostbusters movie out of everyone's mouth.
Well, that's the good thing about the remakes is if they suck, they're really easy to forget. And I never saw the 16 Ghostbusters, so I can't say whether or not it sucked. But I know it didn't make the cultural foothold that the original did, which they never do. We've had this conversation 100 times on this show. But why not? Why not release it? Quite frankly, I'm going to go see it because it's one of my favorite movies.
Right. Yeah. If I'm free that weekend, I'll go see it.
Well, it's kind of an experience, too. The people that are going to be there are going to be the ones that like it as much as you do, and you'll be able to talk to – you go there not just for the movie, but for the camaraderie.
I never got to see Ghostbusters at the theater, so I'm looking forward to it. I remember over the last 15 years. Like I went to The Exorcist when it got re-released. I went to Raiders of the Lost Ark when it got re-released. Alien, because those are my only chances to see those big movies, these cultural touchstones, and in the theater. So, but I'm a movie nerd, so I'll definitely be there.
Jeez, I really am old.
I've
seen all of those in the theater.
That's the movie that made me realize that my uncle was
a ghost.
No, my uncle was not cool and a strict father. So
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, my Uncle Ed has 3 daughters, right? Now, they're all older than me, right? My cousin Terry, I believe, is 5 years older than me? 4 or 5 years older than me, right? So when Ghostbusters came out, I was 10, and my other brother was 12, and my dad took us to see it. And we might have even seen it in the theater twice, because my dad really liked the movie too. And I remember we were at some kind of family function, and we were talking about the movie and like how much we liked it. And my Uncle Ed's like, "Oh yeah, I won't let my daughter see it." And we're like, "What? Oh, it's too scary."
Wow. I have a similar story. My favorite uncle growing up lived on the East Coast in Maryland, and when we were about 15, we went and visited him, and I had to watch my cousin. She's probably 4 years younger than me. I'm 15. She's probably 11. And my parents and my aunt and uncle went out for dinner, and I'm watching the littler kids because I'm the oldest. And instinctively, I put on The Simpsons. And my cousin goes, "Oh, I'm not allowed to watch that." I said, "Why not?" Because they say bad words. And I had the same exact moment. I was like, "Oh my God, my Uncle Mike's not cool." It was like devastating to me. I'm like, "Oh my God, my favorite uncle is," same exact thing, Dave. I sympathize.
Yeah. Speaking of not good uncles, Tom Holland says Spidey's in good hands at Sony.
Hey, that's actually a pretty good segue.
So Sony is the disappointing uncle?
100%.
Yes.
100%. Kudos to you, sir. That was a good one.
I saw the shot and I had to take it.
3-pointer from down.
Nothing but net.
So where's
Yeah. No. So Sony is.
So here's my favorite. Here, I'm just going to read. This sums up the article brilliantly. Tom Holland said, "I'm not shy about expressing how incredible the last 5 years have been with Marvel. I've truly had the time of my life, and in so many respects, they have made my dreams come true as an actor. Sony has also been really good to me, and the global success of Far From Home is a real testament to their support, skill, and commitment. The legacy and future of Spider-Man rests in Sony's safe hands. I really am nothing but grateful, and I've made friends for life along the way."
That's a hostage video.
Exactly.
Just slightly.
They took him into the back room and they beat that poor boy until he came out saying that.
That's a PR firm, and he don't want to get himself in trouble because he got a big mouth. So his agents and all his handlers like, "You got to say this, or you're going to be in contract hell." So the kid did the right thing, reading the prepared statement from his hostages. This is not a Patty Hearst situation.
He already is in He already is in hell. I mean,
he kind of is, but he's got one movie left on his contract, and then
I thought it was 2.
Whatever. I thought it was 1. Either way, he's got to get it finished, and he still gets to be Spider-Man. So making a fuss about it isn't going to help anybody. So you might as well just read the prepared statement, agree with the PLO, and just move on with your day.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like, I can't get it out. It's just become such a mess.
Yeah.
And it also makes me wonder, right? Because I've said this, and people are like, it won't be important. But because we don't know what they have planned, we don't know what they have up their sleeve. But if Marvel turns around and says, "All right, we're not going to settle this. You can't use anything related to the MCU in your movie,"
they can't.
Will that end up putting it in development hell?
No, I don't think it will, because they want to make money. They want to make money with this, and they know they've made money. They're going to make a Spider-Man movie that's about someone chasing Spider-Man from J. Jonah Jameson. The blip won't be important. He'll still have the suit. He just won't mention Tony Stark. And he won't be with the Avengers. They just won't.
So basically, he won't say anything that more than half of all of his dialogue in the last 2 movies have had to do with.
Pretty much.
So it'd be like walking around with it. You know what? There's a way to do this. Give him amnesia. The first scene is him running from a mob. He hits his head, and he's got amnesia for the rest of it.
But no, this part I actually agree with, though. I mean, like, should he still keep talking about Iron Man? Like, people complain about him and the Uncle Ben thing over and over again. Tony Stark is dead. He can't keep talking about Tony Stark.
Right, but he can't not mention him even once without it being weird. I mean, sure. We talked about this. It's going to be weird.
I don't know. It depends on how they do it. It depends on who they have write it. Because, I mean, like, I don't want another Spider-Man movie where he just talks about how much he misses Iron Man.
Oh, no.
But, like,
agree.
One of my things is, like, that suit was created by Tony, right? So he can have the red and blue, right? He'll probably end. That's the thing. He's going to have a new suit. It's going to end up probably looking more like the last 2 iterations of the suit.
Not necessarily. I mean, like, he was going to have a new suit anyway, like, because that's just what they do in all these movies.
Right? But is it going to, like, all of a sudden, it's not going to have AI in it anymore? Like,
well, we don't know that. He can have all those things, just not mention it. Like, you don't have to tell
you can't use the name.
Right.
What?
You can't say Friday. You can't call it Friday.
And I don't think they can use Jennifer Connelly's voice, right?
They can use Jennifer Connelly's voice.
Oh.
They can use her voice. They just don't call her. Or they deactivate it. You blow the suit up at first. I mean, there's a million ways around it.
Like, I know, but it's all going to be really, really contrived, or at least feel that way.
It could. I mean, it could. Like, but at the same time, like, we didn't watch Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War and wonder why they didn't talk about the Red Skull.
True.
You know, if it's not a part of the movie, it's not a part of the movie.
See, here's my fear. My fear is that they're going to sit there and go, we don't have Marvel tying our hands anymore. We can do what we want. They're going to end up throwing Tom Holland in this movie. Not Tom Holland. Venom.
Oh, that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, you read that they shot a scene. Tom Holland was supposed to be in Venom.
Right.
And Marvel cut it.
Right. Marvel nixed it.
Which is crazy when you think about it, because Sony owned that character.
Yeah.
He was just on lease.
Yeah. I don't know.
Again, Marvel cutting their nose off to spite their face.
But I think that's a lot of Feige. Like, Feige does that. Like, there's no reason he had to cut off the TV stuff, like the Jeff Loeb-led TV stuff. He just did. Like, he's very much like this.
Yeah, I know. He's a I'm taking my ball and going home kind of guy.
I mean, kind of. I mean, I hate that phrase, but I mean, like, the fact that let's look at this from Sony's point. They've been trying to make this Venom movie work, I don't know why, for so many years. And they've got a Spider-Man that works. And what was the big complaint that I know was my biggest complaint was, how do you have a Venom that has no tangential connection to Spider-Man? It turns out he did, and the company that didn't even own the character rights said, no, he can't be in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to give sympathy for the devil on this one, but Marvel should have let Sony do that.
Well, my question is, why did they cut the scene? Like, what was in the scene that they didn't agree with, you know?
I don't know, but they should have been, like, this is probably where this all stems from, is that Marvel big-balled them for some reason, and Sony got a little ballsy with the success of Venom and Spider-Verse, so then it became a whole little high school kid thing of, like, no, I'm not talking to you anymore. Fine, I don't need you. Like, believe me, this stuff is real. I see it all the time. And, like, it's a shame that we lose. But at the same time, Spider-Man should have been in Venom. Like, Sony should have let that Marvel's success help them, which was the point. They made a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But they're trying to make these ancillary properties work, and Marvel kind of went out of the way to make sure it didn't, even though it wound up working.
Yeah, it smacks of BS of, like, I want the money. No, I think I should have all the money. You know,
execs ruin everything. Like, studio executives ruin everything. Like, because none of us care.
So,
no, we do care. That's the thing.
But, I mean,
we would give them more money if they would start playing together.
But that's the thing, is they don't want to play together. They're acting like it's like the way of telling Andy when he's not being nice at preschool. Like, hey, man, you have to share that truck. But Feige and was it still Tom Rothman over there? I forget who's in charge of Sony now. Are going to act like toddlers and not give the fans what they want.
Right. So here's a question, a scenario to throw out there. Let's say they slap together a Spider-Man movie that isn't any good, and it fails. It's a box. It does okay, but it's nowhere near the success of Far From Home, right? Who's going to get the blame for it? And B, does Sony then put their tail between their legs and go, okay, we'll team up with you again?
Sony will get blame, but I don't know if they're going to tuck their tails, because then they lose all power in the negotiation.
Yeah, you can't lose position in a negotiation like that. They would never lose face.
It's like that Simpsons, because I do this a lot, where where George Bush has to apologize to Bart in front of the Russians, in front of Gorbachev, and they laugh at him, like that.
Yeah, I could. Okay,
that's the line. Can't show weakness in front of the Russians. And Gorbachev starts laughing. There's a lot of that's real. That's what's going to happen. And believe me, I think the scenario you laid out, Dave, is probably what's going to happen, because Sony has proven that they've made more poor Spider-Man, Peter Parker-led Spider-Man movies than good ones.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, and that's the whole thing. Is Raimi was, you remember, you have to go back to the time that those movies were made, and he was making a decent trilogy until Sony stepped in and said, okay, now we want you to use Venom, now we want you to do this, now we want you to throw this in.
Spider-Man 2 is great.
What?
Spider-Man 2 is great.
Yes.
It was, yeah.
And that was the whole thing. It did successful, and Sony's like, okay, people like Venom. Put Venom in your movie. And Raimi's like, no, I don't want to. And it's like, put Venom in your movie, you can't make them anymore. So, he slapped Venom in. It didn't do well, and then there you go. And then they relaunched again, and it felt like Sony told Mark Webb everything he had to do in these movies.
Sony definitely has the reputation for micromanaging, but so does Marvel. And that's the thing, though, is Kevin Feige is definitely a micromanager, but he seems to be a lot better at it.
Yeah, and he seems to, and he gives us what we want. He's,
he gives us
honestly.
Thinks I think he's convinced us that he gives us what we want. They still give us their movie, but they do a very good job of it. Because this thing is, as a creator, you can't give the audience what they want, because the audience really doesn't know what they want. They think they know what they want. You give them just enough of what they want while telling your story and make them want something else. That's the trick. All Sony wants to do is check boxes.
Right.
They want, we want to have Venom, but we got to have this, and we got to have that. And it's like the Sony movies feel like an Excel spreadsheet.
This is very true. Uh-oh.
Who let the Rancor out?
Shh.
Excuse me, I have to go back to living my life quarter mile at a time.
Yes, there you go. But anyway, yes, that's a good analogy. The spreadsheet, check boxes. Oh, yeah, we got that. Oh, we got that. Do you have a coherent story? That's not one of the check boxes.
It's so.
Did we kill Uncle Ben? No.
Gotta go back. Gotta kill Uncle Ben.
Yeah, kill Uncle Ben again.
And I didn't dislike the first Amazing Spider-Man. It's okay, but it doesn't. It's not what Marvel gave us.
No.
It feels artificial. I don't know how Marvel's figured this out. Because they definitely have a formula, but it works.
Yeah, but I also kind of feel like they've adapted the formula as they've gone along, and they've they changed, and it's like, again, they don't. We've said this many times. They don't really make superhero movies. They make whatever the genre is, and it just happens to star someone who is a superhero in the comics.
Yeah, and they're good at that. But when you look at it, a lot of the Marvel movies follow the Iron Man formula,
right?
And they're good at making it's almost like assembly, it's like assembly line filmmaking, but the product is good,
right?
We criticize that, but you don't want to. How many people buy a car that wasn't built on an assembly line? They exist for a reason. You don't go. A piece of art, a superhero movie is not a piece of art. It's a commodity, but it's a good commodity. It's an enjoyable commodity. And they figured out how to do it better.
Right.
I think that's where we are. So long story short, Sony's going to find a way to screw it up, because that's just what they do.
Yes, they will. It's their lot in life. They make us suffer. Oh,
I like that you tied it back to Star Wars.
Yes. That's what it's all about. All right. Well, I think, I could be wrong, but that might be a good place to end it for the week.
I think I think that works.
Gentlemen, it's been real.
It's been fun, but it hasn't been.
I said it's been fun. I said it's been real. I didn't say it's been fun.
It's been real. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun.
What it is, what it was, and what it shall be.
So, on that note, boys and girls, thanks for listening. Don't forget, check us out at superheroespeak.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at superheroespeak, and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/superheroespeak, to get all the updates and craziness and let us know what you think of the show. Give us some feedback, and you could be part of social media madness. So, again, on that note, thanks for listening. And as always, don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.